Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to bring you another video. I rarely do videos, only when I think it's necessary to respond and I can't necessarily type it out because it's too long-winded. This video will suffice. So Rich from Review Tech USA talks about how Best Buy is no longer selling CDs inside stores. From personal experience, I used to work at a retail business, and I'll tell you that store got rid of the physical CDs too. So it's not an isolated incident, it's actually a trend that's catching on where physical media is disappearing and digital distribution is the preferred platform. Now, digital distribution has several advantages that make physical CDs obsolete. There are pros and cons, but I prefer digital distribution because there are more pros than there are cons, whereas physical distribution of CDs has more cons, but it still has pros, and for that reason I choose the latter and go straight for digital distribution. So what you have is when somebody takes a song and they put it on a server, then they have to buy the license, and then they have a right to sell it on their website on behalf of whatever music company they have a contract with. They can sell that music, and if your music, say, is downloaded and it's corrupt, you can re-download it and get it to where it's not corrupt. Also, if they decide to edit or change the music and say they come out with an expansion, unlike physical CDs where you have to go out and buy the expansion with that because it's considered a second release, they can take the original work, they can take the expansion material and bundle it together in the file and sell it as an expansion, giving you more content for the same unit price. Now, since you're getting it downloaded to a computer, you can physically burn it to disks. You can then keep your copy as a backup in case, like I said, you've got a faulty USB port and you need to use your digital optical device to burn a copy, and you can preserve it that way. Or if you've got a car and you've got a CD deck inside your car, which I don't know how many people are still using that, put your CD in there and play it in your car. That's also a benefit, but you have the ability to preserve that data and get additional content because of digital distribution and still pay only one price instead of buying a whole new CD which has an expansion to it. Now, considering that you're dealing with music files, 128 kps is the industry standard for preserving audio files, so anything less than that is going to be the transfer rate, bit transfer rate, and all that stuff in CD quality. Anything under that is going to be bad and it's not going to hold up. But if you get, an MP4 or an MP3 format, me personally, I use MP4 AAC, which is universally accepted by Sony, and it works in their drives for their PlayStations. It can read that content and not have a problem with it. It's also the smallest format it can get to where you use less file space, but still preserves the music in its original quality. So therefore, that's the smallest you can get. You can go smaller than that, but if you choose to do it, then it's at your risk for, having something that is considered inferior when it comes to the quality of your music. Also consider that audio cards or audio codecs built inside computers, those also help determine the quality of your music. Because if you download it, it'll come in its original 128 kps quality, right? But if you run it through the internal works of your computer and it has an outdated or an inferior audio codecs when it comes to making your own music, downloading music, then your music isn't going to sound as good, and that's really at fault of your computer. That's when you would have to actually get something that is relatively new and an updated audio codecs, probably something within the last 2 or 3 years. So having a current computer, having a good audio codecs inside your audio chip, downloading it from its source, you can physically back up CDs and either put them on a hard drive, or you could turn them into CDs and then burn them on a disc and then put them in an archive, once again for your own personal use. I do believe digital distribution was, I seen it coming, and I'm glad it's here. I don't necessarily like the idea of physical CDs because, like I said, I worked in a store and you had to deal with theft issues and people trying to steal stuff, and it's just not cool. You also hear the conversation that music artists say that they're getting gypped, that they're not making as much money off their music because of things like that. Well, in order to kick back towards the industry and justify how performing artists get the money that's due to them, because it's not an easy gig to be a successful artist, I would say that it's fair to them too. It's a new way to do things, and I approve of it highly. So anybody else who has issues with that, it's really all about the tech, preserving it and distributing it in your own way for your own personal use, and that's all I can say. Thank you for listening to this video, and have a nice day.